It was really hard for me throughout the process to accept that I would hear different stories at home than the ones I heard on my trip. I didn't know what to think. I was kind of like scared.
In a way, it kind of makes you think about, like, not about yourself, but of other people.
Before coming into this experience, I didn't really know much about the border.
Youth in Mission has been invited into various communities, and those are the ways in which we have set up the programs to be in El Salvador, and previously in Mexico, in the Borderlands, and Cherokee Nation. And upon that invitation, we bring together young people from all over the United States, as well as seminary mentors and other staff that can accompany the group.
I think it is a vital ministry for not only the LSTC community, but for the ELCA, because it takes students directly to the land where people are experiencing life and death issues every single day. They have to be exposed to the U.S.-Mexico border wall, the immigration issues, the humanitarian crisis, for example, that's occurring even now along the South Texas border.
I'm really scared, but I'm actually really excited because I like new things, but I'm scared because I know that they're going to be really humble people there, but I don't like seeing people struggle. So if I see like someone struggle, I feel really bad.
I'm really excited. I don't know what's coming next, but I know from last year that it's going to be a great experience. And I'm just excited to learn about the issues and meet people and talk to them.
You know, I hear on the news all the time about the fence and about these borders, and it's just amazing to be able to be in a place right now that is getting so much national attention and to be right in the middle of such a great conflict and such a great turning point in our nation's history.
I feel pretty excited, but also a little nervous going to the border because it's a place I've never been before. And you always hear all this stuff about it that, you know, the only stuff that makes the news is the dangerous and the extraordinary stuff. So I'm nervous about going down there, but I'm also excited because I know I'll be with Youth in Mission and we'll meet lots of cool people and learn their stories.
It's impressive to see young people who are so willing to engage in critical issues, and to do that also out of their faith perspective, who are trying to make some kind of difference in the world, and who are willing to be in places that I know are outside their own comfort zone, but they're willing to learn and eager to learn, and just show a great deal of maturity and insight beyond their years.
I think it is so important for people outside of the border area to know what's going on in Eagle Pass, to know what's going on along the border, because so often we just hear about violence and drugs. We don't hear the stories of faith, of stories of hope, stories of people's lives. I think of the border area as holy ground. It's holy ground because God is at work here. God is at work in the lives of people who call the border home. God is at work in the lives of people who cross the border. God is at work in the lives of people who live on both sides of the border.
When I went to the border, I found that there's so many different sides to the stories, and through talking with people and going to different places, experiencing different things, sitting down and building relationships, I learned that with every story there is also an untold story. And by sometimes having to force ourselves to listen to those untold stories that aren't always easy to hear, we gain so much more knowledge and insight into situations.
In our time in the places that we've been, I've watched a full range of emotion pass across the faces of these youth leaders. For some, it's excitement to see a place they've heard about. For some, it's some fear as we stand at a place where we've heard a lot of pain. So for instance, standing at the Rio Grande and knowing the currents of a river, or seeing the border for what we understand it to be. There's a sense of understanding. There's a sense of anger.
I think what challenged me in my faith the most this year was talking to the Border Patrol and seeing their side of the story compared to the people that we'd been talking to and had been invited to their homes earlier.
There was, for instance, a Border Patrol agent who prayed to the Virgin of Guadalupe for him to help get his job. And when one of our members raised the question of, well, what about these undocumented people that are coming to this country that are praying to the same Virgin of Guadalupe, have the same faith as you? And it rocked me when he was just saying it's God's will.
It's hard to talk to people who agree on us with our faith, but they can't treat each other how they're supposed to be treated. They can't love their neighbors, and that's very hard to talk to a person who agrees with you that Jesus Christ is our Savior, but doesn't understand that Jesus Christ is actually in the person that they're deporting, that they're taking back.
Just knowing that there are people out there who don't really respect other people, call them what they aren't. And that really tested my faith.
When we were in Eagle Pass, one of the main ways I saw God's presence, it was definitely in the congregation. They were so inviting and so hospitable. Whenever we would go and visit them, they told us, this is our home, but it's also yours now. It's not a super easy trip. There's a lot of tension, and there's a lot of questioning, and you're forced to think about a lot of things that you don't normally think about.
A trip like this is very important to take because it gets you out of your comfort zone. It's just like a new experience. Like, you could be doing a million other things, but any other trip would not be as much fun as this one, because you can learn a lot of stuff from this.
I can judge from North Dakota. I can try to understand. I can try to take a side. I can try to learn even about it and try to better my understanding of it. But until I step into these people's shoes and walk in them, or at least walk with them for a little bit, I have no understanding of what they go through. And I would tell people that this trip was walking in someone else's shoes, or at least walking with someone while they still had to carry their very heavy burden.
Youth in mission is something that has completely changed the way that I think about things, and it was absolutely vital for me to get into the position I am today. It's so important to have programs like these that aren't just squarely mission projects, but they're more learning experiences so that we can better do mission with each other, that we can better have relationships with each other.